The moment the police left, the man who had been drunk just a second ago suddenly stood up and paced back and forth following the rhythm of the man in the opposite cell. This person is Bob, a professional killer who disguised himself as a drunk driver to infiltrate the police station in order to kill the person opposite him named Teddy, and then take away the documents. Teddy didn't dare to reveal the truth to the police due to his illegal activities. And besides, his family was still out there. Now that they are all locked up and unarmed, Teddy isn't afraid. He wanted to see how Bob would react, but Bob ignored his provocation and sat on the ground, starting to count the time. At this time, the police officers outside found that Teddy had been arrested 22 times, but he had never been charged and was always released without charge. This indicates that the police are assisting and shielding what Teddy is doing. Meanwhile, after receiving a text message from the gang, Cooper from the police station secretly went to the administrative office to exchange the drugs. He was always scolded by the sheriff for lacking professional competence and threatened by gangsters, completely lacking the authority a police officer should possess. He acted nervously, but fortunately managed to throw the bag out before his colleague came in. Then he pretended to be counting the evidence to clear himself of suspicion. While he was having a conversation with his colleague, another drunkard in the room woke up. Seeing him go to urinate, Bob took off his clothes and prepared to carry out his plan. As he watched the timer on his watch reset to 0, the diabetes detector he had brought in for submission emitted smoke. At this moment, the man provoked Bob, while Teddy warned him not to provoke Bob. Hearing this, the man dismissed it, thinking that the man in front of him was just a useless old man. Bob was completely unconcerned about his arrogance until he heard the sound of the fire alarm. He turned around and punched the man in the face, then knocked him into the iron pillar. Teddy quickly shouted for the police, but Bob showed no intention of stopping. He kept punching until the man vomited blood. Then Bob pretended to cry for help, shouting that he seemed to be having a seizure. At this moment, the police were all drawn to the siren, but only the sheriff heard the shouting and entered the building. He opened the cell door immediately and came to the injured person's side. Teddy shouted at the police to alert them, but the unaware officer was still reporting the situation to his colleagues, while Bob appeared behind him. At this moment, the police finally heard Teddy's cries, and upon turning his head, he was knocked unconscious by Bob. Then Bob grabbed the police gun and shot at Teddy, who reacted quickly and hid under the bed. Bob thought that opening the prison door would allow him to kill Teddy, but he didn't expect another police officer to have arrived. Bob wanted to resist, but soon other police officers arrived at the cell. To ensure the success of the mission, Bob had no choice but to throw away his pistol and voluntarily put on the handcuffs. Then he returned to his cell and handcuffed himself.